Over the last few weeks, I have demolished multiple pieces of cheesecake every single day and have lost 2 pounds per week like clockwork. Today we will make said cheesecake that weighs over 4 pounds and costs just $2 per slice that has half the calories and 2.5 times the protein of regular cheesecake. Oh, and the recipe is stupidly simple, taking as little as 20 minutes to prep and is made with a bowl and baking pan. Let's get into it. To speed the entire prepping process along, we need to take care of a few things ahead of time. First, all of the ingredients that are cold need to be room temperature or else they will be impossible to blend smooth, in turn creating an inferior product. Place cottage cheese, cream cheese, eggs, and milk on the counter and give them 2 to 4 hours to cool. Honestly though, I have left them for 8 hours on the counter and the cheesecake tasted the exact same after baking, so if you got shit to do, don't worry about leaving it there for longer. Also, I would take the cream cheeses out of the box because that will help speed up the warming process. When it's time to bake, add 3 whole eggs and 2 egg yolks to a bowl for easy pouring. Everything we are doing now is going to allow us to make this recipe as easily as possible while mixing. We will then take an immersion blender and blend the 2% cottage cheese for 2 minutes or until it is smooth as butter, like this. You can also do this with a blender cup or food processor, but I like the fact you can mix it straight in the container and this is much easier to clean. And Brian Lagerstrom is the man, and I got this recipe idea from him. Love you, Brian. The last thing we need to do now is add 40 grams all-purpose flour and 97.2 grams or 3 scoops of a vanilla whey protein that actually tastes good to a bowl. Whisk these together to combine. The flour is going to hold the cheesecake together after cooking, and the whey protein is going to keep the batter thin so we get a perfect custard-like interior once finished. Just like in my protein Rice Krispie treat video, I use Gorilla Mind's vanilla whey because it tastes excellent and doesn't amino spike like some companies do, meaning their protein is the highest quality. If you need a good whey protein, using my code saves you money and supports the channel. Now that all of our ingredients are ready, we will grab a large bowl. Like the largest bowl you have in the house. This is nearly 5 pounds of ingredients, so we need it. While I'm going to show you how to do this with a hand mixer, you can also use a rubber spatula and whisk or a stand mixer. I'll provide instructions to utilize the other methods later in the video while discussing the pros and cons of each one, but for now, let's add 325 grams 2% cottage cheese, 448 grams low-fat cream cheese, and 224 grams fat-free cream cheese into the bowl. If you can't get fat-free cream cheese, I have an alternative recipe in the pinned comment to help you out. It isn't as creamy and custardy, but it's about an 8.5 out of 10 of this recipe, which is a damn near 10 out of 10. Fat-free cream cheese has been MIA for years and just got restocked at Walmart, so if you've had trouble getting it, I would check again. If not, it is worth asking your Walmart manager if they can get a shipment of it in. Great Value is Walmart's brand and they clearly have it at the warehouse. I have already had one Instagram follower who this worked for. Just sell them on the fact that you and your friends will buy it often. Like this video. Then add 100 grams sugar, 150 grams erythritol or the sweetener of your choice, 4 grams salt, and 8 grams imitation vanilla. Yes, sugar adds calories, but I tried this with all sweetener. Tasted fake. It also didn't brown as well. Every ingredient I use is carefully thought through and tested to make sure I have the perfect balance between flavor and calories. I made 4 protein cheesecake recipes from other creators before my testing started, and to put it nicely, they didn't impress me. If you choose to modify this recipe by using fat-free everything and or sweetener everything, don't be mad at me if it doesn't taste very good. What does taste very good is the meals I get from today's video sponsor, Factor. When I am testing dessert recipes like this cheesecake, I like having at least one savory meal a day I can grab out of the fridge, heat, and eat. This is particularly significant during my current weight loss phase, as having readily prepared meals ensures I remain dialed into the diet and stay on track. I know exactly how many calories I am getting with each meal, and with Factor's Protein Plus option, I can easily hit my daily protein goals. The best part? This prevents me from overeating or mindless snacking because everything I need to eat is right in the container. If you would like an easier time sticking to your nutrition goals too, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code E4CM50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and free wellness shots for life. 2 free wellness shots from 3 available flavors for every order while you are an active subscriber. Again, head to factor75.com and use code E4CM50 for 50% off your first box and free wellness shots for life. Now let's take our hand blender and mix on low for 1 minute. Our goal is to get a good amount of the ingredients combined. Using a rubber spatula, scrape along the sides and bottom of the bowl to get any ingredients that may be stuck. We want to make sure the entire batter is the same smooth consistency. You will notice the theme of this video will be mixing and scraping. Continue mixing for an additional minute. You should be able to multitask mixing while using the rubber spatula or adding ingredients, but if you are just getting used to it, you can stop mixing and focus on just scraping the bowl or adding ingredients instead. At this point, it should look like this. Let's take our bowl of eggs and add 1 to the bowl. Mix on low until the egg has fully incorporated and then pour in another egg and repeat until all 5 are added. Scrape down the sides and bottom of the bowl, and once everything is homogeneous, like this, start slowly pouring in our milk. Once all milk is poured in, yep, scrape down the sides and bottom of the bowl and continue mixing on low for another 30 seconds or until everything is combined. By the way, don't try to speed up the process by mixing faster. It is just going to create extra bubbles in the batter, which will make the cheesecake deflate and won't be nearly as custardy after it cools. The final ingredient we need to add to this batter is our bowl of protein flour. We need to put it into a mesh strainer and add it over the bowl while mixing on low. This will help avoid clumps and allows for a more even distribution of ingredients, which is crucial in a cheesecake recipe. And after the powder is gone, you guessed it, scrape the sides and bottom of the bowl and mix on low for 2 minutes. Finish this off by turning off the blender and mixing the blender sticks around for 20 seconds to get a good portion of big bubbles out of the mixture. Now, doing this entire process with a hand mixer is the perfect balance of being cheap and easy, but will leave some extra bubbles in the batter as we just mentioned. This will cause the cheesecake to deflate a little bit after cooking and makes a more airy or whipped type of cheesecake, which is delicious in its own right and some people might prefer. However, when using a stand mixer, you get much more of a custardy cheesecake, which is honestly pure ecstasy, like it's 2007 and Pretty Ricky's calling at 5 in the morning, now I'm having phone sex with you. Wow, that was amazing. The stand mixer is also the easiest method, fastest method, and will make the most aesthetic cheesecake, but stand mixers are expensive, so unless you have a stand mixer already, there's no reason to go out and buy one just for this recipe. Lastly, the hand and whisk combo is the cheapest method and will also make an extremely aesthetic cheesecake, but it will take about 10 minutes of extra prep time and a fat forearm pump to get there. Whatever method you choose, the instructions are the exact same. Make sure everything is smooth and scrape down the sides and bottom of the bowl. With our 3 methods explained, our batter is now ready to go in our baking vessel. Today that will be a 10-inch springform pan. If you have eaten my Lou's deep dish pizza, you probably already have one of these. But if not, any 10-inch high-sided baking vessel will work. You can also use an 8 or 9-inch pan, but you will probably have to bake for longer since it will be thicker. Similarly, my cookbook is getting thicker, sitting at over 140 recipes, and cookbook owners have been making this recipe for 2 weeks now. Get early access to recipes and an expanding cookbook by clicking the link in the pinned comment and use code E4CM for 10% off. The last thing we need to cover is parchment paper. Every test run I made didn't use parchment paper, and the cheesecake came out perfectly. However, it was hard to get the cake off the bottom of the springform pan without my pizza peel, and is even harder to transfer to whatever dish you will store this on. The cheesecake won't be as aesthetic after it is cooked, but who cares? It will taste the same. So to make this as easy as possible for everyone, let's spray the pan with oil, crinkle the parchment paper up, spread it out in the pan, and give it another spray of oil just to avoid any possible stickage. We will finish by cutting off the extra parchment, placing the pan on a sheet tray, and adding the batter into the pan. Give the pan a little tappy-tappy to bring any larger air bubbles to the top. Then our sheet tray goes right into a preheated 475-degree oven for 35 to 40 minutes, giving the tray a 180-degree turn halfway through for even cooking. For reference, my oven cooks the cheesecake perfectly in 36 minutes. We want the top well browned and the entire cake to have some jiggle to it, but not too much. This is what you are looking for. Here is some more jiggle jiggle so there is no doubt in your mind when you are making this. While it is jiggling now, in 3 to 4 hours the cheesecake will firm up and we will be left with a creamy, custardy center that I can't compare to anything else. I eat multiple slices every day now and I cannot stop eating it. This cheesecake is way better than other store-bought full-calorie cheesecakes and is worth the 20 to 30 minutes of effort to make it. And if you are put off by the brown topping of the cheesecake, just peel the top off, although it adds a ton of flavor, and I recommend at least trying it once. To store this beauty, simply put it on a plate, cover in cling wrap, and refrigerate for up to a week. When you want to slice, you could enjoy it cold or let it warm up on the counter for an hour to get that custardy, creamy texture back. But sometimes you need something to eat now, and in this video here, I make protein Rice Krispie treats in 15 minutes that I couldn't stop eating. Until this cheesecake came into my life. I will see you there. Until next time, deuces.